Well, good evening, everybody. I'm David Greenwood, and I'm going to be running the quiz with you this evening. Thank you, everybody who signed in already and joined us. And the good news is I'm going to put some photos up on the screen shortly, which is going to be part of the quiz. So you should be seeing that happening in the next few minutes. So we'll be looking forward to seeing how your answers come through with that. So we're just going to move into a brief glimpse of the photo round before we start. So a little bit of a reward for those who've signed on a little bit early, and off we go. So if you want to start having a little look at this with your teams. Well, good evening, everybody. I'm going to jump in here because it's 7:30 and welcome you to the Trinity Tewkesbury lockdown quiz. I've already had a couple of texts saying, help, stop, just trying to get ourselves logged on. So before we actually formally start, I'm just going to leave the picture round up on your screen for a couple more minutes, just so you can have a good look. So don't forget that if you're in a Zoom team tonight, then the trick is to be logged in on Zoom to communicate to your friends, and then obviously actually watching quite separately the quiz on YouTube. You're welcome to post comments, questions on the YouTube. Hopefully Karen will keep an eye out for those and we'll respond accordingly. But we've got an important task for you first of all, before we do anything else, and that is that we would like to know your team names. So we'd like to know two things. We'd like to know the name of your team, and also whether you're playing as an individual or as a group, because as always we'll have an individual prize as well as a group prize, because we know it's that much harder. So if you could send us that, the number to use to text it to us is +44 7585 196 292. And if you're not in the UK and maybe you're in America or somewhere like that, then you're welcome to use WhatsApp or something like that to send that to me. So that number again, to send me your team name and whether you're on your own or whether you're part of a team this evening, is +44 07 585 196 292 or 07585 196 292. So if you want to start sending your team names in, and whether you're playing as a team or you're playing as an individual, then that would be absolutely fab. And that will just help us to start to set up the scoring for the quiz. So I'm just going to flick to those pictures again so you can start comparing some notes. And I can see the team names starting coming in already, which is fantastic. So I'm just going to leave you a couple of minutes to take these in. And what we'll do then is I'll just give you a couple more up-close pictures of these as well, just so you can come up with your final conclusions as to what you're actually looking like. We've already had a great entry for the potential winning team name, which is Quarantine. Quarantine. Brilliant. Okay, well, keep them coming. And a special request from Karen before we start. The team that have just decided to call themselves Team, did you really mean to call yourself Team? So if Team, you'd like to kind of send us a text with Team, our real team name is going to be this, then that would be really handy. Thanks very much.
We've got It's Grim Up North from Daniel.
Okay, so if you're just joining us and you're just looking at the round one, identify the animal, if you haven't sent your team name in yet, a reminder that number is 07585 196 292. If you're abroad and you can use WhatsApp, it's +44 7585 196 292, and you can use WhatsApp or any other tool for that matter to get that team name to us. So another team entry we really like. What was it? It's Grim Up North.
It's Grim Up North.
Grim Up North. I think that's coming from well north of the Scottish border. So I suspect that might be my brother. So welcome, Daniel, if that's you. All right. So we're nearly ready to start properly. So I'm just going to hand the team names back to Karen as she puts them on, and we're going to go through some of the pictures individually now. Okay, so question 1. Question 2. Question 3. I reckon that's the hardest one, actually. Question 3, but we'll see.
It's the easiest one.
Oh, my wife thinks it's the easiest one, but we'll see. Okay, so let's move on to question 4. This is my favourite animal, apart from my dog, of course, but it's not my dog.
Okay, somebody said, do we text the answers? No.
Do we text the answers? No, we don't text you the answers. No,
do they text us the answers?
No, you don't text us the answers. What you do is you're going to write them down, and then and what you're going to do then is you're going to mark yourself at the end. We'll tell you about that in a moment. But basically what we'll want from you after you've completed some of the rounds is your scores, and then we'll be telling everybody how they got on.
They're writing on paper at home.
Okay.
Writing on paper at home.
Brilliant. And we've got another team name there that's just come through. So I hear that Grim Next Door. Was that Grim Next Door?
Yeah.
Grim Next Door. So Grim Up North. So that's Grim Up North versus Grim Next Door. And we know who you are. And I will be very interested to see who wins out the two Grims. For the benefit of Grim Next Door, I'm just going to flick these pictures back very quickly so you don't miss any of them. Okay, and that's for everybody else watching as well, but that'll be real quick. Okay, so that's your question 2, Grim Next Door. Question 3. Question 4, which is my favourite animal, apart from Bounty the dog.
It's not. You've got a different one.
I've got a different favourite animal. I've got 2 favourite animals. Didn't realise that. No, I've got another favourite animal, but it's not that because it's not as tall. Question 5. This is so hard. Well, I reckon it is anyway. I know, but you've got the benefit, wife, of knowing what it was in the first place. Right, question 6. This one I completely failed on when I practiced these. Question 7. Did everybody have time for question 6? I'll just pop that back for a second. There we go. And question 7 once again. And let's move on to question 8. This one's really difficult. I'll be amazed if anybody gets this, but I could be amazed. Question 9. Who could mistake that picture? And finally, the final picture. Question 10. Here we go. Question 10. So hopefully you've had an individual picture and look, and you've seen that the pictures all together. So what we'll do now is we will just move on and give you some instructions in terms of how the actual competition is going to work this evening. So first of all, there's going to be 7 rounds. including the picture round, which we've just done, and there are 10 questions in each. So we're going to have some fun tonight. Yeah, there's actually more than one prize, but there is the satisfaction of winning. And I know that there are a number of scores which are to be settled this evening. So we ask you especially to play fairly tonight. We can't monitor your access to anything, so we ask that you play honestly and rely on the brains and memories of those you're able to be with, who are participating with you. We're going to ask you to mark your own answers and submit your results. So you've got to be honest, but you're going to have some fun by being honest as well. So the answers are based on our own research and our finals. So our answers are only as good as what is published. The way it's going to work is you're going to be able to see the questions on the screen, and we will also read them to you. Now, I'm just going to repeat for one last time what I was asking for at the beginning of the quiz, which is if you haven't given us your team name yet, please text it to us on +44 7585 196 292. That's 07 585 196 292. So if there are any missing teams, we'll need to receive them.
When we ask you to send your score, so don't send it yet, but when we ask you for a score, if you just say your team name and then the number, that will be good, but you don't have to send it every round.
Yeah, we'll ask you when we want to get your score, so we'll keep you kind of fully in the picture with that. Okay, so you're probably wondering how you got on with the picture round, so here we go. Oh, incidentally, why are we doing this? Well, I don't know about you, but do we need a reason? What else were you going to be doing tonight? So that's why we're doing it. I hope you do enjoy it, and we'll be looking forward to seeing how you get on with your scores. Oh, how many teams are playing? Quite a few, actually. How many teams are playing, Karen?
18 at the moment.
18 at the moment. So
18 whose names I know.
Yeah, 18 whose names we know. So if there are any others, make sure we get to know your team name. All right. So here we are. So the question. So for each picture, you need to write the animal. So here we go. And the answers are: question 1, butterfly. Question 2, pangolin. Well, I'll be interested to know how many people got that. That was hard. Question 3. See, I thought this one was hard. Camel. Question 4. This is one of my favourite animals. This is.
Wonder why.
What do you wonder why? You can't say things like that, especially when we're live. Sloth. Definitely one of my favourite animals. Question 5. Yep, it's a robin. Would you believe that was a robin? Question 6 is obviously a bat. Question 7 is my first ever pet, I think, tortoise. Question 8. There, this was hard. Anybody know what this is? This is a Komodo dragon. And coming up to question 9. Oh, isn't that cute? A squirrel. And finally, in the picture round, question 10. So, question 10. My favourite bird on a cereal box. A toucan. That's an American cereal box. Fruit Loops, Toucan Sam. So there we go. So that's our first round. Hope you did well. We don't need your scores just yet, but we're going to do some more rounds before we ask you for those. So we're going to dedicate the next round to the Grim Next Door team, and we're expecting an extraordinary performance from you, Grim Next Door. And we're also using it to celebrate Epiphany as well, because that was only very recently that we'd have had the Sunday celebrating that. So this is a special Kings and Queens round in recognition of Grim Next Door and Epiphany. So here we go. So we're moving on to question 1. Oh, I didn't say they were easy. Sorry. Sorry about that. So, which country does King Vajiralongkorn, who spends a lot of time in Germany, incidentally, come from? I'm going to have to repeat this question, aren't I? So, which country does King Vajiralongkorn, who spends a lot of time in Germany, come from? Right. Question number 2. Which Queen of England is buried in a privately owned castle? Which Queen of England is buried in a privately owned castle? Okay. Hopefully you've conferred with your Zoom teammates on that one. So we're going to move on to question 3. Who was the last king of the United Kingdom? Who was the last king of the United Kingdom? So if you're in America at the moment, are you doing okay with these? Hope so, because there's lots of, I always like to think there's lots of British history on American TV these days. So who was the last king of the United Kingdom? And then moving on to the next question. What was the name of the Queen's first Corgi? And we're told that this Corgi was the effectively the parent of all the other Corgis that, or the ancestor rather, of all the other Corgis, and also Dorgies that the Queen has owned. So what was the name of the Queen's first Corgi? Next question. Name one of the 3 kings of the Nativity. Or wise men. You might call them wise men, but name one of the 3 kings of the Nativity. Next question. Yeah, has everybody got that? Good. Good. So we'll go on to the next question. We'll have a summary at the end as well, just so you can have a quick look through and see what's happening. Next question. What was William I otherwise known as? What was William I otherwise known as? Karen, you're asking me a question. Use the printable version, by the way. That's the one we're looking for. There's a slightly ruder version. We want the printable version, please. So what was William I otherwise known as? Okay, so let's go to the next question. Who is the Queen of Papua New Guinea? I did say, Grim next door, that we weren't going to make it easy for you. Who is the Queen of Papua New Guinea? So hopefully there's an awful lot of Zoom activity here with people trying to work out what the answer to this question is. Next question. Who is the latest actress to play the Queen in The Crown? So if you're in America, you should definitely be able to answer this as it's on Netflix. So who is the latest actress to play the Queen in The Crown? Next question. Where are the crown jewels kept? Nice, easy question. Where are the crown jewels kept? That was question 9. So we're going to our final question in this round. Question 10. Assuming Prince Charles becomes king, what would his title probably be? And we know that he could, if he becomes king, use another name. He could choose another name. But what we're asking in this question is, what would his title probably be? What's the automatic one that would happen if Prince Charles became king? So I'll repeat the question again. Assuming Prince Charles becomes king, what would his title probably be, unless he chooses another name? Okay, so I'm just going to pop a summary of all the questions up in round 2 on the screen. So if you just bear with me. Here we go. So I'm just going to leave you for a minute or so, teams, just to have a quick look and see if there were any questions that you were missing from that set. Yeah, I think some of you are going to be kicking yourself if you don't get the answer to question 2. Okay, so I think we're going to be ready now to go to the answers. So here we go. Round 2 answers. So kings and queens, the answer to the question, which country does King Vajiralongkorn come from? Somebody you see on the media spending a lot of time in Germany. He comes from Thailand. Question 2. Which Queen of England is buried in a privately owned castle? And the answer is Catherine Parr. Now, the privately owned castle, and why people around here should know the answer to this question, is because it's actually the castle in Winchcombe, Sudeley Castle. And Catherine Parr is actually the only Queen of England that's actually buried in a privately owned castle. And for those history buffs around you, amongst you, and I'm sure you know the answer to this, Catherine Parr was actually one of the wives of Henry VIII, but interestingly, she actually outlived Henry VIII. And I think she wrote some books, from what I remember. So the answer to question 2 is Catherine Parr. Question 3. Who was the last king of the United Kingdom? And the answer, of course, is George VI. George VI. Move on to question 4. What was the name of the Queen's first corgi? And the answer is Susan. And Susan was a corgi, not a dorgie. So that's your answer, Susan. Question 5. Name one of the 3 kings of the Nativity. So what we're really thinking about here is the wise men. And so you can have any one of Caspar, Melchior, or Balthazar. But Caspar is sometimes spelt differently as either Caspar, Jasper, or Gaspar. So if you've got any of those spellings, or Melchior or Balthazar, claim yourself a point for your team. That's question 5. 1 point. Okay, so we're just looking for one person's name on that list there, and you get 1 point for that. Question 6, the answer is William the Conqueror. That's what William I was otherwise known. That was what William I was otherwise known as. That's the polite version. There we are, question 7. How many people got that? But she only, I think, became queen in something like 1975 of Papua New Guinea. So the answer is Queen Elizabeth II. Moving on to question 8. The actress to play the Queen in The Crown is Olivia Colman. And moving on to question 9. Where are the crown jewels kept? Well, hopefully everybody's got the answer, the Tower of London. And finally, assuming Prince Charles becomes king, what would be his title? What would his title probably be? The answer to that question is King Charles III. But apparently he could take any name he chooses, but the answer is King Charles III. So there we are. So we've got to the end of round 2. So now here's your opportunity to send us your scores, please. Now we want to keep this really simple if possible. So we want you to text us your team name followed by your total score out of 20. Yeah, so far. So in other words, that's the combined scores of both round 1, the photo round, and the Kings and Queens round. So you should have a score out of 20. And if you could text that now to 07585 196 292 or +44 7585 196 292. And if you need to use WhatsApp or Facebook or whatever to send that over a Facebook Messenger, then you can do. So we'll be keeping an eye on the score every few rounds, and I can see those scores rushing in now. So if you could just send that to 07585 196 292, and then we'll be rushing on with the next one.
Well, they're zooming. I've got a couple of 19s out of 20s.
Blimey, did you hear that? We've got some 19s out of 20s tonight. Those first 2 rounds. I can't believe that.
Well, there are definitely.
Okay.
And the team modest enough to call themselves the champions are not currently the champions at the moment.
Yeah, that's modest enough to the champions aren't quite the champions yet. Right. Okay. So we're going to move on to the next round, which is round 3. So if you're still kind of adding up, if you just want to take a note of that number on the screen, and off we'll go to the next round. So this round is book and film titles. So for this round, you just need to say what the missing word in the book or film title is. And you just need the correct word for the point. Okay, so we'll move on to the first question. The Something of the Jackal by Frederick Forsyth. So it's that blank word is the word that we're looking for in your answer in question 1. The Something of the Jackal by Frederick Forsyth. Question 2, Charlie and the Chocolate Something. And we're looking for that something. That's the book by Roald Dahl. So question 2, Charlie and the Chocolate Something, and that's by Roald Dahl. So that's what we're looking for, please. Okay, so we're going to move on to question 3. How to Win Something and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. So how to win and influence people. We're looking for that blank word. Okay, so that's question 3. Question 4. 7 Brides for 7 Something, which is a film or musical. 7 Brides for 7 Somethings. Okay. Question 5. The Something Letters. The Something Letters, which is by C.S. Lewis. Question 6. The Something Hungry Caterpillar. That's The Something Hungry Caterpillar, and that's by Eric Carle. That was question 6. Question 7. Notes from a Something Island. That's Notes from a Something Island. Okay, so we're going to move on to question 8. Question 8 is Jurassic something. And your clue for this film is that in UK statistics, it's been seen as the 18th highest grossing film in the UK ever. So that's the 18th highest grossing film in the UK ever. Jurassic something. Question 9 is the 7 habits of highly something people. That's the 7 habits of highly something people, which is by Stephen Covey. So that's our question 9 for this evening. Question 10. Question 10 is those magnificent men in their something machines. So that's those magnificent men in their something machines. Okay, so that gives us the 10 questions in this round. So I'm just going to put the summary up on the screen now. Right, so hopefully you'll have consulted with your teams by now, and you'll have gone through the answers to those questions. Hope you're feeling confident. So let's see what the answers come up as. So question 1, we're looking for the word day. The Day of the Jackal by Frederick Forsyth. And that's the answer to question 1. Question 2, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory by Roald Dahl. So we're looking for the word factory. Question 3, How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's one of the biggest selling self-help books in the world. So the word you're looking for is friends. And I think it was written back in the 1930s. It's a super book if you've never read it. That was question 3. Question 4, 7 brides for 7 brothers. So the word you were looking for was brothers. That's question 4. Question 5 is the Screw Tape Letters by C.S. Lewis. So the word you were looking for is screw tape. Question 6 is The Very Hungry Caterpillar by Eric Carle. So the word you were looking for in that question was very. Okay, so that's question 6. Moving on to question 7. Notes from a Small Island. And that's by Bill Bryson. So if you're in America, I think he was talking about us here in the UK. So that's Notes from a Small Island by Bill Bryson. Your word is small. Question 8. Ooh, who put Park down? Yeah, the answer is Jurassic World. So that's the answer to question 8. The word you were looking for was world. Question 9. That's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. So the word we're looking for in question 9 is effective. Okay, yeah, I'm just going to go on to question 10, but I think Karen's got a question we need to ask. So just bear with me for a minute. So we are, question 10 is those magnificent men in their flying machines. So the word we were looking there was for flying. So Karen, have we got all the scores in that we're expecting?
I've not got pole for pole.
We've not got poll to poll score. So poll to poll, if you could send your score in, please, that would be fantastic. Now, do poll to poll have the number that they need?
Yes, they do, because they've already sent me their team name.
Oh, you've already sent the team name. That's fantastic. Super. So if you could send that in, that would be brilliant. Okay. Right. So that's question 10. Right. So let's now move on to round 4. Now, you've probably seen there's quite a lot of cheese in this quiz already, so I thought the least we could do is throw a little bit more in. So this is the cheese round, and you need to name the country which the cheese comes from. So very, very easy. You just have to come up with the country. So we'll go on to question 1. Cheddar. Nice, easy one to start. Question 1 is cheddar. So remember, you've got to name the country that cheddar comes from. Question 2, skier. So question 2 is skier. Okay, so yeah, so there we are. So we're on question 2, and the answer is, the question is skier, and you need to come up with a country. So now going to question 3, Parmigiano Reggiano. Parmigiano Reggiano. That's question 3. Question 4 is Serrada Estrella. Serrada Estrella. Question 5 is Emmentaler. So question 5 is Emmentaler. Moving on to question 6. Don't forget, we're looking for the country here which each cheese comes from. So question 6 should be a nice easy one. Camembert. Question 7 is Gorgonzola. So what country does Gorgonzola come from? Question 8, Gouda. Where does Gouda come from? Okay, question 8, where does Gouda come from? Question 9, where does feta come from? Where does feta cheese come from? Okay, and then finally question 10. Oh yes, we didn't make it that easy for you, did we? Where does Västerbotten come from? Where does Västerbotten cheese come from?
Apologies to anybody who does speak the language.
By the way, apologies, as Karen says, to anybody who speaks that language. I thought that was quite good, actually. I think that would be regarded as a pretty good pronunciation.
I do know somebody who speaks this.
You do know somebody who speaks this language.
I could check.
You could check. Great. Okay, well, that's me busted. Right. Okay. So we're up to question 10. I'm going to put the list of questions up on the screen for you, just so you can have a quick poll round with any friends you've got on Zoom to make sure you've got any missing answers sorted. Okay, so hopefully you've got the cheeses round completed. So we've got some score news for you. So Karen's going to shout across to me because she's on her other laptop. So she's been crunching the numbers as we've been going along. So Karen, how are we getting on?
So we have 22 teams who have declared that they are playing and sent me scores. So I have 22 team names in front of me. Top position at the moment is 19 out of 20 for the first 2 rounds. We've got 2 teams on that, and one is the Holiday Armadillos and one is Tuckersville. We've got 2 teams on 18, a team on 17, a couple of teams on 16, so it's pretty close at the top there.
Okay, that's fantastic. Any teams that you want to mention who perhaps are struggling a little bit?
No, I'm not mentioning the bottom scores.
You're not going to mention the bottom scores?
I'm not going to mention the bottom scores.
Do Grimm's feature in any of the bottom scores?
No.
Grimm's up north especially?
No.
Because he's my brother.
Oh, yeah, but we did a wildlife round, so he knew everything.
Oh, of course he did. Oh, yeah, of course he did. Right. Okay, so that's at round 4, so you know where you are. And we're going to go through the answers now. So obviously, Cheddar, UK or England, you can get a point for either of those two, UK or England for question 1. Question 2, skier, is from Iceland. And it definitely is a cheese because I checked. I didn't believe it was a cheese actually, but I had to Google it and it really was a cheese. So that was a real surprise. Question 3 is Italy, Parmigiano Reggiano. Question 3 is Italy. Question 4, Serrada Estrela is Portugal. Serrada Estrela is Portugal. Question 5, Emmentaler is Switzerland. It's Swiss. Question 6, an easy one, Camembert is from France. Question 7, Gorgonzola, and that is from Italy. Question 8, Gouda, that's from Holland or the Netherlands. Now, Karen has put her hand up here.
We did have a text congratulating on your pronunciation of
Gouda.
Indeed.
Oh, brilliant. Well, I'm impressed. I mean, I think there's probably quite a few linguists online tonight. So if I'm doing well, it's lucky I'm not having to do anything in French or German, really, because I think that my career broadcasting on YouTube would be finished. Anyway, so that's question 8. So that was Holland and the Netherlands. Moving on to question 9. Feta cheese, of course, is from Greece. And that just leaves us with our Swedish. Did we get any marks out of 10 for my Swedish pronunciation?
No, nobody mentioned it. So
nobody's mentioned it.
I'm assuming everybody out there doesn't speak Swedish.
So we're assuming people don't speak Greek. So it's Västerbotten, and that's a Swedish cheese. Okay, so that the last answer, question 10, Västerbotten is a Swedish cheese.
I can imagine it's a bit of a longer word than that.
It's a longer word. Okay, well, that's a linguist correcting me here. Right, okay, so we're now at the point where we're going to do the score so far again.
I just want the total so far.
Yeah, so this time we want your total out of 40 so far. Okay. So we want your team name. Yeah, so we want your team name and we want your total score out of 40, please, covering all the rounds that you've done so far. So if you can text that score, please, to 07585 196 292 or +44 7585 196 292. You could be in New Zealand, of course, as well. So if you're in New Zealand or America, wherever you are, feel free to use Facebook, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, or so on to send your answer if you need to. Okay, that's fantastic. So we can hear them kind of whizzing in now. So as soon as we've collated them, then we will we'll update you. Okay, so as you're doing that, we're going to move on now to round 5. And again, I think if you're in America and you're doing this round or anywhere else in the world, then actually there are some clues in these questions, and listen to the questions really carefully and follow the clues would be my my suggestion to get some of these right. So, question 1. What is the straight line distance from Land's End to John O'Groats? And what we're looking for here is to the nearest 10 miles or kilometre. So what is the straight line distance from Land's End to John O'Groats? And we're looking for the nearest 10 miles or kilometre. That's question 1. I suspect there'll be a lot of consultation over Zoom on this one. So I'll give you a few moments to consult. Okay, and don't forget the question will come up at the end as well. Question 2. According to the 2019 Office of National Statistics survey, what is the population of the UK to the nearest million? So that is, what is the population of the UK to the nearest million? Okay. So moving on to question 3. What was the village of Meriden thought to be in geographical terms? What was the village of Meriden thought to be in geographical terms? Question 4. Oh, hang on. Karen's asking me an important question here, so just bear with me for 2 seconds. Okay, this is a message for the team called the Antiquarians. So what you've done is you've given us your score for the single round, and what we're looking for, please, is for your score out of all four rounds. So we're looking for a score out of 40, please. So that's for the Antiquarians watching tonight. We could have a score, please, out of 40. That would be fantastic. And going back to the questions, question 4. What is the name of the river which runs through Cambridge? What is the name of the river which runs through Cambridge? Okay, and we're going to move now on to question 5. What is significant about the county of Rutland? So what is significant about the county of Rutland? Okay. Question 6. What famous pudding is named after a county? What famous pudding is named after a county? One of my favourite foods, actually. So that's question 6. Move on to question 7. Hopefully, teams, you're talking to each other here. What famous pudding is named after a county? Question 7. If Grim Up North don't get this question, I will eat my hat. What is the Welsh name for Wales? What is the for Wales? That's question 7. Question 8. Which is the odd one out? Shetland, the Isle of Man, or the Isle of Wight? So we're looking for the odd one out. Shetland, the Isle of Man, or the Isle of Wight? So that's our 8th question in our geography of the UK round. Okay, moving on to question 9. What is the highest mountain in England? So that's what is the highest mountain in England? That's your question 9. Question 10. What is the shortest distance between the UK and mainland Europe? And here we're looking for the answer to the nearest mile. So, what is the shortest distance between the UK and mainland Europe? And we're looking for an answer to the nearest mile with this question. Okay, so I'm now going to pop up a summary of the questions just to give you a chance as teams to catch up on any questions which you missed. So we're just looking to give you an update on the scores, but we're just looking for the score from poll to poll. And what was the other scores? Oh, antiquarians, please. So for both teams, please, we'd like your score out of 40 so far. Yeah, so for those two teams, please, if you could send your score over to us, that would be fantastic. Okay, so moving on then, we're going to be moving on to our penultimate round. Oh, yes. Before we do that, by the way, I'm going to give you some answers to round 5. Right, so let's see what the answers are. So the straight line distance from Land's End to John O'Groats, the nearest 10 miles per kilometre, is 603 miles. And if you've got an answer between 593 and 610 miles, we will give you a point. Equally, if you've got it in kilometres, 970 kilometres, anywhere between 960 and 980, we'll give you a point for that. So that's question 1. Question 2. What is the population of the UK to the nearest million? And this is the 2019 Office of National Statistics figures. And the answer is 66,796,807. And we will accept 66 million or 67 million as your answer. And you can see that you're closest if you've got 67 million. Okay, so that's question 2. Question 3. There was a clue in this name if you were in America and trying to work it out. What was the village of Meridian in the middle thought to be? So Meriden, rather, thought to be in geographical terms. And of course, it's the centre of England. So well done, teams that got the answer to that question. Question 4. Again, there's a clue in the word here, in the question. So what is the name of the river which runs through Cambridge? Well, the answer is the River Cam. The River Cam. So if you're not from these parts, hopefully there was enough of a clue in there for you to get the answer on question 4. Question 5. What's significant about the county of Rutland? And of course, it's the smallest county in England. It's also the smallest historic county in England. That's question 5. Question 6, one of my favourite foods. What famous pudding is named after a county? And of course, that's Yorkshire pudding. Yorkshire pudding.
They weren't thinking dessert.
Sorry?
I said, I hope they weren't thinking dessert, because I was when I did the question.
Yeah, I hope you weren't thinking dessert. Although, interestingly enough, it is a pudding in Canada called pop-ups. So, yes, that's the answer, Yorkshire pudding. Question 6. Question 7, Cymru. What's the Welsh name for Wales is the answer to that one. So the answer is Cymru. But we had an interesting question come through, didn't we? Which is one of the team names. And that was that the question was,
What's the English for?
what is the English for Tresselyn? Trecelyn, which is a team name. Well, there's going to be no points for this one, but if anybody wants to text their answer for what is the English for Tresselyn, Trecelyn,
unless you're in that team,
unless you're in that team, then please text it in and we'll share it with everybody. And if not, we'll ask the team to give us the answer. It'd be hilarious if you didn't know. Right, so that was question 7. So have you got a question?
No,
okay, we'll carry on. Question 8, the odd one out. Shetland, Isle of Man, or Isle of Wight? And the answer is the Isle of Man. It's not in the UK. And the reason why it's not in the UK is because the Isle of Man is a crown dependency.
Diego, your Welsh pronunciation's been correct.
Oh, what a disaster. Hard sea, not soft sea. Sounds like, okay. So, Treclyn.
Sounds like a K. I thought you spoke Welsh.
I do speak some Welsh. Siarad Cymraeg, for those who are listening and trying to catch me out. Right, so we're still waiting to find out what that, so it was Treclyn. We want to find out what that means in English, please. So anyway, going back to question 8, so the answer was the Isle of Man being the odd one out. Question 9, the highest mountain in England is Scafell Pike. So that was Scafell Pike for question 9. And moving on to question 10. What is the shortest distance between the UK and mainland Europe to the nearest mile? The answer is 21 miles. Okay, so that takes us to question 10. Okay, so where are we? So we're going to go, so our penultimate round is going to be, round 6 is going to be general knowledge. Is there any updates?
Are you asking question 10 or have you done it?
Yeah, I've asked question 10.
Yeah,
I've answered question 10. So Karen is going to give us an update to tell us where we are.
Okay, so our top team at the moment are on 38 out of 40, which is Tuckersville. So 38 out of 40. But I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams all within those 4 points at the top. So
it's all to be won for this one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's fantastic. Okay, so this is our penultimate round, round 6. It's a general knowledge round, and as you can see, it's thanks to one of Karen's year 7 form who prepared a quiz for the class to do last week. So here we go, and with 1 or 2 questions from ourselves as well. So question 1. How old is the Queen now? So no cheating on these. How old is the Queen now? That's our question 1. Okay. How old is the Queen now? Question 2. How many players are there in a netball team? How many players are there in a netball team? Question 3. In what year was Facebook launched? In what year was Facebook launched? how the Zoom team's coming with those answers. Question 4. Oh, what have we got here? Any suggestions including Sussex and Somerset puddings? Oh, we're going to let that team have half a mark for that. Half a mark. Yeah, I think they can have. Actually, if they are true, right? So they're definitely puddings, are they?
I'll Google it.
Okay, right. Karen is going to Google that answer. So what was that? Sussex pudding, and what was the other one?
Pudding.
And Somerset pudding. Okay. Well, if your answer, let's find out if Sussex or Somerset puddings are real. Then we'll decide whether you get a point for it or not. Okay, then. So anyway, let's go back to question 4. We got distracted. What is a baby hippopotamus called? Okay. Oh, that's a Sussex pond pudding. I was looking for just Sussex. I'm not. Can you call that not a Sussex pudding? Is it? As a Sussex pond pudding? It is a Sussex pudding. Right. So let's go to question 5. Question 5. Which was launched first? Twitter, Instagram, or Snapchat? So which was launched first? Twitter, Instagram, or Snapchat? Want to consult with your teams? How are we doing with the puddings, Karen?
Sussex pond pudding.
Sussex pond pudding.
Somerset apple pudding cake.
Somerset apple pudding cake. I don't think they can have those, really.
Yeah.
It's pushing it, isn't it? It's pushing the boundaries there.
We did say judge's decision was final.
Judge's decision is final. Sorry, if you got Yorkshire pudding there, you got that point. But you're close with those other two, I thought. Okay, right. So that was question 5. Which was launched first? Twitter, Instagram, or Snapchat? So question 6. In which US state was Joe Biden born? So if you're in America watching this, this will be one that you've got an advantage on us all. So in which US state was Joe Biden born? Yeah. Okay, so right, okay, so let's move on to question 7. What are trees which drop their leaves generally called? So what are trees which drop their leaves generally called? Okay. So next question, question 8. Which well-known Welsh village was the primary setting for the 1960s TV show The Prisoner? Which well-known Welsh village was the primary setting for the 1960s TV show The Prisoner? Question 9. What is equal to mass times acceleration? What is equal to mass times acceleration? Okay, so we're going to move on to the final question of round 6. So anybody who is a late bird might get the answer to this question. But for those in America, Radio 4, BBC Radio 4 is obviously a national broadcaster, a bit like PBS. So here's the question. What are the 2 pieces of music played before and after the last shipping forecast of the evening on Radio 4 before close down? So that's BBC Radio 4, the national broadcaster for the United Kingdom. So you get half a mark each for these two pieces of music. So what are the 2 pieces of music played before and after the last shipping forecast on Radio 4 before close down? There's half a mark each for these. So I'm going to take you to the summary, which hopefully will give you a few minutes to just quickly go through with your teams to fill any gaps. So And I'll get an update from Karen to see if there's anybody that we need.
We don't need scores yet.
Okay, we don't need scores yet, but we're going to go through to the answers on round 6. So here we go. For our penultimate round, the answers are: how old is the Queen now? No cheating. The answer is 94. That's the answer to question 1. Question 2. How many players are there in a netball team? And the answer is 7. How many players are there in a netball team? And the answer is 7. How many glasses have we got in the house? One less than we had 5 minutes ago. How much gin did Karen put on the floor? Not very much. So I'm sorry, the scoring is probably not going to be as efficient as it was previously. Right, okay, that was question 2. So the answer for that one was 7. Question 3. In what year was Facebook launched? And the answer to that question is 2004. Next question, question 4. What is a baby hippopotamus called? And the answer is a calf. Fortunately, Karen has now collected most of the pieces of the glass, which... Right, so that's your answer on question 4, calf. Question 5. Which was launched first, Twitter, Instagram, or Snapchat? And the answer, of course, is Twitter back in 2006, followed by Instagram in 2010, and Snapchat in 2011. So that's your answer for question 5. Question 6. In which US state was Joe Biden born? And the answer is Pennsylvania. So in which US state was Joe Biden born? And the answer is Pennsylvania. Question 7. What are the trees which drop their leaves generally called? What are the trees which drop their leaves? What are those types of trees called? They're deciduous trees. Question 8. Which well-known Welsh village was the primary setting for the 1960s TV show The Prisoner? And the answer is Port Merion. So that's question number 8. Question number 9. What is equal to mass times acceleration? What is equal to mass? And the answer is force. And finally, from this round, going on to question number 10. What are the 2 pieces of music played before and after the last shipping forecast on Radio 4 before close down? And there's 2. The answer to that question, are there actually 2 marks to this question? I thought there was there's actually a half a mark for each question, aren't there, on this question? On the question 10 on round 6, it's actually half a mark for it, not 2 marks. So in total, if you got Sailing By and the national anthem, it's not 2 marks, it's 1 mark. If you only got one of them, say the national anthem, it's half a mark. So that's our question 10 of our penultimate round complete. Now, at this final...
There were scores yet. Wait for scores at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, so nobody needs to send any scores yet. We're going to wait until the end because this is our final round coming up. And this round is dedicated to home educators. So if you're somebody sitting at home at the moment, maybe having to help with somebody's maths homework or helping teach them or whatever you're doing, we hope that round 7 will turn you into absolute tip-top performance as a part-time amateur teacher. So we'll be testing your skills and seeing how you get on in round 7. So question 1, what is pi to 2 decimal places? What is pi to 2 decimal places? That's question 1. Okay, moving on to question 2. This is our final round. So question 2, what is a scalene triangle? What is a scalene triangle? And the answer, as Karen has just said, is not triangle. So we want to know what a scalene triangle is, please. Okay, moving on to question 3. How many sides does a pentagon have? How many sides does a pentagon have? So that's question 3. Question 4. What language does the word maths originate from? What language does the word maths originate from? That was question 4. Question 5. From which country do numbers originate? From which country do numbers originate? And I'm guessing that this is probably the time when you're going to be needing to confer over Zoom. So I'll just give you a couple more moments to discuss this particular question 5. Okay, so that's question 5. From which country do numbers originate? So now moving on to question 6. How many red balls are there in a game of snooker? How many red balls are there in a game of snooker? Question 7. What are the first 5 prime numbers? What are the first 5 prime numbers? And we need them all to be correct to get your point, please. So I'll let you get back to your Zoom teams to ask this. Question 8. Bible question. If Genesis is the first book of the Bible, what number is Numbers? So if Genesis is the first book of the Bible, what number is Numbers? That was question 8. Question 9. In terms of numbers, what is a googol? In terms of numbers, what is a googol? There's several ways of expressing this answer, so we're going to give you several ways of doing it. But at the end of the day, the answer is the same, whichever way you present it. So in terms of numbers, what is a googol? And we come to, well, kind of our final question, but it depends on whether or not we have a tied score. So let's go to question 10 of round 7, our final question. Sorry, I didn't mention to you that it might be quite a difficult question. So you'll recall having seen lots of screens tonight, and I can tell you that there is at least another screen with a question on it. So, to the nearest 100, how many words are there in tonight's quiz PowerPoint? So, to the nearest 100, how many words are there in tonight's quiz PowerPoint? And don't forget, after this page, you'll see it, you've got your summary page, and there'll be another page after it with a tie-breaking question. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put our list up on the screen. There we are. So that's questions 1 to 10. So if there's any you've got missing, now is the time to consult with your friends on Zoom.
I'll need a couple of minutes to sort out this.
Okay, so that's super. Right, so hopefully you have got your answer to those questions. So we're going to go through to the answers for the final round. So, question 1, what is pi to 2 decimal places? And the answer is 3.14. So that's 3.14. Question 2, what is a scalene triangle? That's a triangle with all 3 sides of different lengths. So all 3 sides are different lengths. That's the answer to the scalene triangle. Question 3. So the angles are different. So Karen tells me. Question 3. How many sides does a pentagon have? And the answer is 5. Question 4. Which language does the word maths originate from? And the answer to that is Greek. And you can see there the Greek version and also the kind of translation of mathema. And I don't know if anybody's Greek that's listening to this, but Stephen might know. Have I got that pronunciation right for mathema? That which is learned. So any comments on that, that would be great. Okay, question 4. Let's move on to question 5. Question 5, from which country do numbers originate? And that answer is India. And apparently that spread from India to the Arab world, which is how come it then spread to us. And I think that they were talking about even the 4th or 5th centuries when numbers emerged in India. So they've been around for a long time. That's question 5. Question 6, how many red balls are there in a game of snooker? And the answer is 15. Question 7, what are the first 5 prime numbers? And I thought 1 was a prime number, but apparently it's not. So we need them to all be correct. So your answers are 2, 3, 5, 7, and 11. That's 2, 3, 5, 7, and 11. Question 8. If Genesis is the first book of the Bible, what number is Numbers? So if Genesis is the first book of the Bible, what number is Numbers? And it's fourth. It's the fourth book of the Bible. Question 9. In terms of numbers, what is a googol? And that is a 1 followed by 100 zeros. But if you've got the answer 1 times 10 to the power of 100, or you've had too much time in your hands and you've decided to... If anybody's done that, I congratulate you and put 1 with 100 noughts after it. But apparently that is 1 with 100 noughts over it. So well done who created that. That wasn't me. Okay, so finally, question 10 answer. How many words are there in this PowerPoint? And the answer is 3,690. So to the nearest 100, so that means you can go from 3,590 to 3,790. So if you've got a number in that range, then you can claim yourself a point. Okay, so that's the quiz completed for tonight in terms of the questions, apart from the tiebreaker if we need it. So here we go. We're now looking for your final score out of 70. Right, so as Karen's saying, so we want team name
and number out of 70.
And score out of 70, please. Yeah, and Karen will put those in as quickly as possible into the spreadsheet. So just to remind you how to text your final score in. So that's your team name and your final score out of 70 to 07585 196 292 or +44 7585 196 292. And if you're overseas and you want to use Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp to send your score in, then you would be very welcome to do that. So let's see if we've got a tiebreaker on our hands. So, right, I'll put that, we'll just leave that up on the screen. I think there's a few answers, there's a few totals whizzing back. Remind me who was in the lead after the last round?
Tuckersville was.
Tuckersville. So Tuckersville.
Score, so.
Yeah? Okay, so Tuckersville were in the lead at the last round. Okay. So, everybody got that number? +44 7585 196 292 or 07585 196 292. We're waiting for your scores to come in so we can give you some final results. And I think tonight there's going to be a prize both for the team and I think also for the individual as well that wins.
No individuals I know of.
Oh, no individuals?
Nobody's claimed to be an individual. So.
Oh, right. So if you're an individual, make sure that we know in your entry that you're an individual.
They're not. They're all teams.
Oh, we're all teams. Okay, that's fantastic. Right. Okay, so we hope that you've enjoyed it this evening, and you're probably wondering how to find out when the next quiz is or some of the other fun things that we do. So I thought I would pop up our email address and our website up on the screen for you maybe to take a photograph of or write down. If you email office@trinitytewkesbury.org.uk, that gives you access to a weekly interactive newsletter that comes through to your email box. The great thing about that is that particularly if you're sat on your own this evening, that gives you access to links like coffee and chat, men's breakfast, all kinds of things where you can meet people and have a chat on a Sunday morning or a Saturday morning, and there's all sorts of events that are happening on. So if you want to get that newsletter, make sure that you take a photo of that email address, send your details over, and that will mean that each week that you'll get a notice. And if you don't want to send us your details, no problem at all. You'll find quite a lot of the things that are happening on our website. That's www.trinitytewkesbury.org.uk, and that will take you to us. So, Karen, I know that you haven't got the final scores, but how's it going?
No, but you can read that out. That Mr. I'll need to stop.
All right. Okay. So we've got that. So Newbridge, where one of the teams is from. That's what was it? Trekking, because we said K, doesn't it? It's Trekling. So that's a hard C, not a soft C. So the answer was Newbridge, and that's where one of the teams is tonight. So if I've completely messed that up and that pronunciation, then I'm sure that in the next few seconds that we'll hear from you in dramatic terms. Also keen to find out if we've got our foreign language translations right tonight. So if anybody's got anything to add, or pronunciations, I should say. Yeah, it's really good just to see how many of you are sat on the quiz tonight. One of the things that'd be really nice to read, actually, if you want to do it, if you're looking at the chat tonight on YouTube, why don't you just put down roughly where in the country or where in the world you are, because it will be just really nice to see what the reach of this quiz has been this evening. So if you just want to pop that in the chat, we'd just love to see where you're watching us from tonight. Okay, so I think we're just a little. We're still waiting for. Are we still waiting for any teams coming through?
I don't know yet.
Okay, so teams, if you haven't submitted your answer yet, please get that to us as soon as you can. I'm going to pop that number, and that will be your that'll be your tie-break question if we need it. So if you'd like to text your final score and your team name to 07585 196 292, and that's for any teams that haven't actually submitted their answers yet.
Have we got that one?
Yeah, so just looking out just to see if
that's the only one I'm waiting for.
Right, okay, so
Don't shout it out.
right, so right, okay, so
Don't shout it out, just show me.
no, I haven't got that answer, so I'm waiting for am I waiting for Grim Next Door's score?
I think that's the only one I'm missing.
Yeah, so at Grim Next Door, we're missing your score. Okay, so we're just waiting for that one to come through, please. You'd like to send that to us?
I don't think they've put it in there.
Oh, they might not have sent us their score, but they have sent some pictures of camels. Thank you, Grim Next Door. Yes.
I'll score out of 70.
Thank you for pointing out one hump versus two humps. So hang on. So
it was a one hump camel.
It was a one hump camel, by the way. So it was out of 70 we're looking for, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that's your score there. Okay, I can see it now. That's come through. That came through.
I'm sorry to say it's not a winner.
I'm sorry to say that if there was a prize for the best picture of a camel that we've received this evening, you would win the prize. But
right, I'm doing the sort now.
Right, so we're doing the sort. So any second we will know the answer to who is going to win this quiz. Oh, yeah, and that's definitely the answer. Is that the grand total, including dromedary humps?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super. So you've got that one logged as well. All right, so there's a drum roll. Are you going to come and see us now, Karen?
Hold on. Oh no, it didn't work.
Oh, that didn't work.
No, I know what I've done. I've sorted it by the wrong score.
You sorted it by the wrong score? Yeah. What did you do?
No, I haven't sorted it by the final score.
You haven't sorted it by the final score?
I will sort it by the final score now.
Dromedary one hump. That's a comment for the northeast of England. So,
okay, right. Our winners.
All right, come around here. Come on, Karen. Our score expert for this evening. So
what's the one on Sorry, I haven't got a clue called.
I'm sorry, I haven't a clue.
Susan or something. What's her name? Anyway.
Samantha.
Okay. Samantha.
Right,
no, it's Karen tonight.
Our scorer.
Right. Okay. So, how far down should we go?
Nobody can see you because you're hidden behind your computer.
No, I'm not. I can see my name. Okay. So in 5th place we have Quarantine, and I'm going to quarantine the prize for the best team name as well. Quarantine. We have 58 points, and we also have Lockdown Loonies on 58 points. We've got Breeden's Brains on 58.5. We have Crescendo on 60. And we have Tuckersville on 66. So I strongly suspect that I know who Tuckersville are. And they have won the quiz. and they're not Tewkesbury. So Tuckersville are the winning team on 66 out of 70, which is pretty phenomenal. I don't know if you want to know, but the wooden spoon, I won't name the team, but the wooden spoon goes to the team with 38.5 points, I'm afraid. So wooden spoon, there were 23 teams playing. So that was brilliant.
Oh, well done, everybody. Now, if you're one of those winning teams, make sure that you text your...
There's only one winning team.
Well, one winning team.
Oh, no, I do need to know who Quarantine are.
So Quarantine, and what was the winning team again?
Tuckersville is the winning team.
Tuckersville.
I know who they are.
Make sure that you text your full postal address to us, both of those teams, please.
Quarantine, I can probably find out, can't I? As long as I know who Quarantine are.
That's right. But if you could text your full addresses to us, then a prize will be winging its way to you. So we hope you enjoyed this evening. As I said, there's certainly other events and things happening right through the week that you'll find on the Trinity Tewkesbury website. We hope you've enjoyed it tonight. We've certainly enjoyed sharing the quiz with you. And we hope you'll join us again. And don't forget, if you do fancy coming to church tomorrow and you can't go very far, well, just look on the Trinity Tewkesbury website and you'll find it there at 10 o'clock on this same YouTube channel. So maybe we'll see some of you tomorrow.
I'll give a special shout out to all the teachers who've spent another evening on a computer screen.
Yes. Well, thanks for that, Karen. Right. Well, we'll say goodbye to everybody now. Thank you so much. And we'll look forward to seeing you again.
No.
What?
The winners of the best named team,
yes,
are the people who won the best named team last time for a different name.
And just for a bit of fun, if you want, why don't you send us your answer to the following question? To the nearest meter, what was the length of the Titanic? That was going to be our tiebreaker tonight. We didn't need it, but we would love to know which team was closest. So if you want to text that through, and if you're the closest, we'll let you know. Okay. So thank you, everybody. That's it for this evening, and we will wish you a good evening, and very much hope that we'll see you again at a future quiz. Thanks very much.